Good evening. This is CTV News for Friday, August 28th. I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Denise Douglas. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, a potentially dangerous patient who is also a sex offender has escaped, and police need the public's help in catching him. He was last seen in a community in Landover Hills yesterday. Here's reaction from residents.
I know somebody escaped, and it is a sex offender. That's a big worry for everybody.
Some residents are on edge after hearing that a sex offender who is now a patient at a state hospital is on the loose.
My daughter live here too, so she have 2 babies, so I'm worried about it.
49-year-old James Alexander Norris Jr. has a long criminal history. In 1987, he pled guilty to rape and assault with intent to maim, for which he served 30 years. On Thursday, he was on a court-ordered home visit from a state hospital when he walked away from a residence here in the 4000 block of Warner Avenue. Nathaniel Woolley says police have been searching for Norris.
I live on Everett Street there, and they keep going up and down the street and back and forth.
Looking for this guy?
Yeah.
Inside the buildings, flyers are posted putting residents on alert.
I know something happened last night, but I just read the ad there.
Norris was last seen wearing a black athletic jacket, blue jeans, and New Balance sneakers. He's 5 feet 7 inches tall and weighs about 170 pounds. He's considered dangerous, and police are urging the community to contact them immediately if they see him.
Again, he is considered dangerous, so you are asked to call 911 immediately if you see him.
Well, tomorrow is the 10th anniversary of one of the deadliest storms to hit the United States. Hurricane Katrina killed nearly 2,000 people and demolished whole sections of the city. Many survivors left and were forced to carve out lives outside of the Big Easy. Byron Scott caught up with one of them.
The day before the storm, my parents decided that we wanted to evacuate because we didn't know how big the storm was going to be.
10 years ago today, Kimberly Simpson and her husband heeded the call to evacuate New Orleans, leaving their 7th Ward home and settling in Brookhaven, Mississippi, an hour and a half away.
We were shocked. Everyone was just glued to the TV literally for days after this happened and trying to figure out what we were going to do, where were we going to go, how are we going to start our life over again?
Kimberly and Kevin hope to build a life together in New Orleans. They are still together. Their daughter was born last May, but Katrina has changed everything else.
It took a few days for it to sink in that we really weren't going home.
Their 7th Ward home was filled with water. This is the house where Kim grew up. Her father visited both houses weeks after the storm.
The home where I actually grew up at, there was about 6 feet of water in our home, and the part of the roof was actually blown off.
2 weeks after the hurricane, they moved to Laurel, where they had relatives. She works as an accounting assistant for the city of Mount Rainier. He works for Montgomery County.
They helped us to get resituated. So without any other options of, a place to start over, this is where we chose to start over.
The Simpsons have visited New Orleans frequently, but the years since Katrina have been tough. Her parents were forced to sell their home.
And they actually had to take a loss on it. Just like so many other property owners down there, they had a problem trying to get the resources that they need so that they could save their houses.
The family still owns the 7th Ward house where other relatives now live. As for the future,
New Orleans will always be the place where I grew up at. It will always be my first home, but we had to move on from New Orleans, and we're now here, and Maryland is our home now.
In Mount Rainier, Byron Scott, CTV News.
And Prince George's County Council Chair Mel Franklin has issued a statement today saying he and his colleagues stand in the essence and compassion and remembrance of the lives that were lost.
Well, the city of Bowie has been notified that a resident may have contracted the West Nile virus. According to the Department of Agriculture, the case has not been confirmed, and officials are unclear where the individual came in contact with the infected mosquito. The city is now taking precautionary measures in the Somerset neighborhood where the person lives.
We work with the Maryland Department of Agriculture. They're the ones that actually do the spraying, and we have asked them to spray in the neighborhood where it occurred, and also it's a Somerset section of Bowie and in nearby streets that aren't necessarily in that section. There's 3 basic things people can do. First of all, they can eliminate places where mosquitoes can breed. They only need 2 inches of water to breed, so anywhere there's any standing water is a potential breeding place. So a pool in your backyard, a kiddie pool, not some, if it's a built-in pool or something like that with a pump, no problem. But if the water's not circulating, like a kiddie pool, abandoned tires, a bird bath, you should change those once a week.
Officials will also spray other Bowie neighborhoods with known mosquito problems.
Demolition began today on a drugstore that was damaged during the Baltimore riots. The CVS at the corner of Pennsylvania and North Avenues was torn down this morning. The company is also renovating the pharmacy in the 2500 block of West Franklin Street. Meantime, Baltimore police have announced plans to build a joint information center. Officials say it will serve as a gathering place to coordinate and release emergency information in case the area faces another violent encounter. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone.
And I'm Denise Douglas.